Hello, everyone. Welcome back to Soul Astrology with Christine and Laura. Today, we're going to be starting our first video on a series of videos that are going to deal with each of the houses. So there's 12 in the Zodiac wheel. And so we'll start with the first house today. I just want to say that we did do a video introducing kind of the overall Zodiac wheel. And we'll be talking about how to find the first house in this video and in the next videos, showing you where the houses are again. But it might be good if you haven't watched that to go back and just see where how the wheel is broken up and how to read the wheel and what direction and all those kinds of tidbits about or facts about the Zodiac wheel. And then I also think it might be good if you already have your own natal chart to pull that out, because then you can kind of start seeing each house on your own chart, what sign rules it. And then as we go through each house, you can kind of see how we describe that sign in that house. And you can start seeing kind of a bigger picture coming together with your natal chart. Is there anything else you want to add?
Well, at the beginning of the classes of the videos, I remember we said that it was important to read or watch all the zodiac signs videos because they all have a place in your natal chart. They're all influencing you. So now is the time that comes where you start connecting houses with zodiac signs. So now is the time when you need to understand what zodiac sign is ruling each house to have a better understanding of what's happening in your house. So I think we can, maybe on descriptions, we can add the links for the videos,
Yes.
for the zodiac sign videos.
And not to get too complicated, but in some people's charts, so for example, in my chart, I have some signs that are like stuck in the middle of a house. So they'll have, I have like Pisces ruling my first house, Aries stuck in the middle, and then I have Taurus ruling my second. So I have some that aren't consecutive. First house skips from Pisces to Taurus because Aries is stuck in the middle of my first house. So just keep that in mind. Just go by the cusp and what sign is on the cusp of that house, or the starting point of that house where the house starts. And that's the sign that's ruling it.
And we explained it cusp in the previous videos, but
Yeah.
just in case, cusp are these lines that are dividing the houses, and we count them counterclockwise. So the ascendant, this a horizontal line that goes to the left, will be the cusp of the first house. And the zodiac sign that is on this cusp, in this case, is Libra. Just gonna enlarge the image here, and you see the cusp of the first house. This is the first house. You see the number 1, and this is the beginning, the cusp of the first house. And you'll see that Libra is the one ruling the cusp of the first house. So in this case, this natal chart has a first house ruled by Libra. Okay.
All right. So the way we set this up is we will introduce the house, the themes that go along with it. Each house is ruled by a sign, and then your natal chart will also have a sign. And so for me, it's Aries, but not for everyone. Like
For me, it's Capricorn.
yeah, and on the chart that we have here on that slide, it's Libra, right? But traditionally, the first house embodies the energy of a certain sign too. And so the first house's sign is Aries, and the ruling planet of Aries is Mars. So the first house also has the influence of the planet Mars. And the planets we haven't covered yet. So we're kind of layering information for all of you. We started with the signs, now we're doing the houses, then we'll do the planets. And the element is fire and the quality is cardinal.
So it is with the element of fire, it is a house of action in a way, is us entering the world and making ourselves present in the physical dimension. So it requires action, it requires movement, it requires the warrior in us to say, here I am. And the quality cardinal is because cardinal represents a beginning, the initiation of something. So we're gonna talk elements and qualities also in next videos, but we want you to start having all the information so then you can come back to the videos and start putting the pieces of the puzzle together.
So the themes of the first house are going to be about the body and about self, like identity. And so the phrase that goes along with that is I am. And the energy is of the warrior. So that kind of ties in with you talking about fire and cardinal too.
Mhm.
And also Aries and Mars, right? Mars is the warrior.
All right, now we are coming to show what happens in that house, because if you remember before, we said that the houses are where things happen. So what happens in the first house? And here we have the description of all the things that you will find about yourself happening or expressed in your first house.
So the areas of expression, like we already said, this is kind of expanding on the theme of self and body, right? So it's the self, it's who you are, it's an awareness of who you are. It's about the physical body. So it's how you appear in the world, how you act in the world. It's the first impressions. So when someone meets you, what's the energy they read off you right away?
Yeah, it's really not who you are, but it's more like how you face the world and
Yeah,
how
how you
people
present
perceive
yourself.
you. How you
Mhm.
exactly. Sometimes I hear the masks that you wear, and the mask can be seen as something fake, but I think we can understand that is, yeah, the impression that you put out there and how you want to be presented.
And when we think about, again, the fire and the action, so it's how you approach living, how you approach your life, identity, vitality, again, that active energy. It's your attitude towards life. It's beginning, so stepping out into the world, how you initiate things, and again, how others see you. So that impression idea is really strong here. And the images we chose are just representative of some of the themes. So what we have here is just a little chart where we chose some keywords that represent each of the signs as they are in that house. So in the sample chart, we had Libra, right? So these would be the keywords for Libra in the first house. And we formed them around the themes of, for the first house, body and self.
Yeah, I just have it here.
Yeah.
There you go.
Okay. So if you look at your chart, you can find which sign is on that ascendant or the cusp of the first house, and then you can kind of see, do these reflect who you are as stepping out in the world, how people see you, how you present yourself to the world, how you approach taking action and starting things, initiating things. So we'll start with Aries. We also highlighted the sign in each chart that is the ruling sign of that house. So Aries naturally rules that house, and it's in red. And Laura, you used color as well to represent.
Yeah, I like the idea of helping you remember the fire with the color red and water with the color blue. So we're gonna explain that later. Just so you know why we're choosing red for the first house is because it's a fire house. And of course, one of these definitions will fit your specific natal chart. Not all of them, choose one, the one that is ruling the cusp, that line that starts the first house. So
Like
you,
Libra and our sample.
yeah, what you need to do is find out what is the zodiac sign and then come to the list and find the symbol and then see the definition, because the definition is what is going to kind of match the energy of your first house. That might be a little bit different depending of what planets you will have there. The planets will also color a little bit. But once we explain the planets, then you'll have this understanding of zodiac signs, and then you understand the house, and then you understand the planets, and you'll combine all the definitions, and you will see probably that the description fits you better. But right now, let's take this in general without knowing what planets you have in your first house. This is like a general definition for considering the ruling zodiac sign.
Think of it as layering. So we keep
Yes.
adding more details for you to make it more custom to who you are, truly. All right. So if you have Aries ruling the first house, it means that when it comes to presenting yourself, interacting, initiating, how you work with your body or feel about your body, you're an action taker. So you initiate things. You can be impulsive. You are a leader. You're full of energy, and you really want to have the idea of me first, that you are of primary importance in all of these aspects.
Yeah, the um the the action taker, I think Aries and in the first house he moved by impulse, by instinct. It's not much about thinking or considering what's happening, but when you have that impulse of getting something done and start something, you move. And it's kind of like a reaction to a need that you have in you. And for that you have all the energy. Perhaps after you take that first step, then you'll think what you've done and read the consequences. But with Aries in the first house, what you need to do, you'll do it right away. And you don't need much preparation. You just feel that gut feeling in you, and you know that needs to be done. So you jump into it.
Yeah, it's very bold energy. Okay. So if you have Taurus ruling your first house in your chart, you will approach self and body very practically. You are a hard worker. The sensual, so things that appeal to the physical senses is something that's important to you. Um, it can be anything from, the way your home feels, or eat food that you eat, or so it's really about the physical senses. Taurus is very dependable. So where Aries is a leader, full of energy, bold, impulsive, Taurus is dependable. They're not quick to they're not quick to make decisions, but when they do, you can really rely on them to be there for you.
I think they
So
like to
going
consider options, right? And they have to have kind of plan and knowing how much is it gonna take and be like more prepared before jumping into something.
I also get the feeling that it's not only having the options, but it's having time to sit with that
Mhm.
option and kind of feel into it and put it aside, maybe come back to it a little. So they're almost the opposite of Aries, where they really kind of plod through their decision making in a very patient, slow, detailed kind of way.
Mhm.
And then the hedonist comes back kind of that sensual, like appealing to all the physical senses. And being a hedonist means there's a lot of joy and pleasure in the sensuality. So they could be to an extreme where that really drives them.
Well, if Taurus is the ruler of the first house, that means that Venus is there. So surrounding yourself with beauty and usually have the very beautiful aspect of men and women that you see that wear all the jewelry and they just look at them and it's like perfectly dressed and gorgeous and the hair done. It's a lot of attention to the body in a very loving and caring way.
Yeah, I get the word luxurious is
Yeah,
good, kind of to bring across that
yeah.
hedonist sensuality. All right, so if you have Gemini ruling your first house, when it comes to the themes of self and body, you're going to be curious, communicative, social, flighty, and charming. So a lot of these words to me speak of the impressions that you make on others, how others see you, how you kind of step out into the world.
Yeah, if you have Gemini on the first house ruling, Mercury is there. And Mercury is the planet of communication. So the way you enter or the way you begin everything that you do is by talking and creating relationships and communicating your ideas. So it's a very active mind. um, and the need to have the other one in your life in a way to share your opinions and receive other people's opinion and formulate ideas in your mind. So your mind is very active when you have Gemini rule in the first house.
So the experience of living a physical life for Aries is about taking action, is doing. For Taurus, it's about experiencing life, kind of in that slow, kind of pleasurable kind of way, but also in a way that you're willing to commit and build things and be hard worker. So it's not just all about pleasure. And then Gemini is all about the other and the mind and communicating and talking and just meeting people and just learning about different things. So it's kind of all the different kind of ways that you can approach living a physical life that we're talking about in a way with these signs.
Mhm. Because remember that we are just describing that first house. So it's everything related to those aspects of your life of how you come into the world and how you start projects in your life. So now we do Cancer. And those Cancers are the mother loving of the zodiac sign, the people that are there for everybody always, trying to create cozy spaces and make sure that everybody's fine and everybody feels comfortable.
Yeah. So the words that we chose for Cancer are sensitive, emotional, but they're also private. So where Gemini likes to have lots of friends, meet lots of people, and get to know lots of people, Cancer becomes very emotionally tied and connected and involved with the people that they have. So they have a smaller circle of people in their lives that they interact with. And they can also be very defensive. So think of the crab in its hard shell. So there is, and it's that emotional, like the inner emotional soft side, they kind of have to protect in a way.
Yeah, the
Um,
mama bear too, right? That protecting the ones that you love.
mhm. And then nurturing, which obviously comes along with that mothering kind of energy as well.
It will be interesting for you to like figure what zodiac sign is ruling you and then see if you connect with these definitions that we're giving, and maybe you want to share your thoughts in our Facebook group or in our videos on YouTube and see how you relate to these definitions. We're very curious about it.
And I keep thinking, I don't want to confuse things, but you may. So if you have a very strong Cancer in your chart, even if it's not the first house, you may identify with some of these words as well. So just be open and kind of take note of what we're talking about here. And as we move through your chart, you might find, like Laura was saying, planets can influence a house. So maybe you have a lot of planets. Cancer doesn't rule your first house, but you have a lot of planets in the house that Cancer rules in your chart. So us talking about it here, and you may say, I don't have Cancer in my first house, but I really identify with that nurturing kind of aspect. Well, maybe it's your sun sign, or maybe it's your moon sign. So just kind of take note of which ones you're identifying with, highlight the one that is ruling your first house, and then things will come together. So you may identify with signs here that don't necessarily rule the house that we're talking about, but there's a reason for that, and we'll come back to that. So ask questions too. If you're kind of like, I really identify with Capricorn here, but Capricorn doesn't rule my house, just take note of that and then circle back to it. It'll fall into place.
One thing that I realized about this is I did not recognize my first house or my ascendant as a part of who I was, but I realized others defined me that way. I was more like finding myself associated with my sun sign and a little bit of my moon sign. But then when I started asking questions to the people around me, everybody was looking at me as a Capricorn. And it was an energy that it was very like I didn't feel personal. I didn't feel connected until I started reading all the definitions of that zodiac sign and start noticing, yeah, I'm actually doing a lot of these things, but I was not having awareness of really expressing in the word that personality.
Mhm. Yeah, because again, it's how you present yourself and how other people perceive you is the first house.
Not necessarily what is in your heart
How
or
you
how you,
feel.
yeah,
Yeah.
how you feel about yourself.
Mhm.
So I think it's very interesting to do a little bit of research and talking to others and see how they perceive you. You'll
Good.
find surprising information there.
So it's all the soul astrology, right? This is really getting to know yourself in a new way. All right, so shall we move on to Leo?
Where, yep,
All right, Leo in the first house, when it comes to self and body themes, is the me energy. So Aries was me first. Leo is me as the center of the universe in all the loving and best charming ways. They are creative. They're unapologetic. So they are who they are. They're confident, kind of plays into the unapologetic, and they need to be the center of attention. That's really what they want and crave. It's kind of part of who they are, is being that center. They're the sun, right? That's the ruling planet. So they're the center of the universe, or the
but I,
solar system at least.
but I think that also people will put them in because it's
Yeah.
the first house. That's how others will recognize, even if they are not demanding being the center of attention. People will give them the attention. People will make them the center of attention. So
Yeah.
they ended up entering a party, and everybody turned around and look at them because they just enter the room, right? And maybe they're not looking for all that attention, but because it's in the first house is what comes forth, is the energy that you are presenting. So you are getting the attention. Let's see.
Okay, we good with Leo?
I think so, yeah.
Okay, so the next sign, if you have Virgo ruling the first house, when it comes to self and body and how other people perceive you, Virgos can be critical, but critical in both the positive and the negative sense, right? So Virgos are very detail focused. So they can be critical like a discerning eye. They see all the details and how it all fits together. And but then they can be critical in that, the judgment or the expectations that they have. To be perfectionists, for example, can be very strong. They're very organized, but they're also ready to help. Virgo is one of the signs it's about service to others. Perfectionist, but also then the perfectionist can flow over into this nervousness that they have or anxiety that they have because really holding yourself to perfectionist ideals is unrealistic. And so that can create that anxiety and nervousness in them as well.
And I think that people with Virgo ascendant find themselves always there to help others, but also in a way people reading, and when people need something, always going to a Virgo ascendant, asking for a favor, asking for an advice, asking for things. So yeah, it's in a way life putting the Virgo ascendant people in that place of being there for others. And I think because we have free will, it's always good for us to check how much we want to step into the tasks that sometimes we get into it, and maybe we can decide I want more of that or less than that, and we can balance. But I know a lot of people with Virgo in the first house, and sometimes they feel exhausted because they feel that they have to be there for everybody. And I think learning to say no for them, it's like a a good goal to achieve. Understand when the heart says no, honor that feeling.
And I mean, that's something we could discuss with every sign, what self-awareness, what lessons it brings to each sign. And so that would be Virgos.
Mhm.
Um, okay, so Libra. if you have Libra ruling your first house, for self-embodied themes, other people would perceive you as beautiful. It's also something you would seek. They're intellectual, they're fair, so that the scales, right, the balance, justice is always a theme for Libra. So fair, collaborative, they are about partnership, working one-on-one with others. And they also may be seen as flirty.
Well, Libra also is ruled by Venus. So that's the other sign. Taurus and Libra are the both the two signs that have Libra, that has Venus. And that means that the goddess is there. And the goddess loved to connect with others. So in Taurus, the goddess wanted to have stuff and enjoy life, but in Libra, the goddess wanted to create relationships and attract the interest of others. We're good with Libra?
Yeah, I'm just going over in my head the difference of beauty too between the two, but it's definitely there, right? So for me, Taurus, because it's the bull, I think that's why it's about the physical pleasures. I mean,
Mhm.
they're so obviously a big physical being, right? Whereas Libra is about the relationships with others and with the world, and so it's more of a um, e- emotional kind of connection with
Yeah.
Libra.
With Taurus is an earth sign, so you activate your senses. While
Mhm.
Libra is an air sign, so what you activate is the mind. So this goddess wants to connect with others and interact with others and show its beauty to others. What maybe Taurus want to enjoy things for himself or herself.
Mhm.
Libra wants the connection and sharing the interaction with others.
Okay. If you
Scorpio.
have Scorpio ruling your first house, the words that go along with the themes for the first house would be courageous, controlling, intense, intuitive, and manipulative. So there, this is one of those signs that whenever it comes up for us in each of the houses, that I think we had spent probably the most time on Scorpio. Scorpio is very elusive, deep, convoluted, complex kind of sign. So yes, it has some more negative aspects to it, but I think that points to its complexity, right?
And the intensity,
Yes,
the passion and the depth.
exactly. That's the word I was just thinking of too. So they are very courageous. And then, like the controlling and the manipulative, is because they're so highly in tune and have psychic and intuitive skills that maybe some of the other signs aren't as in touch with, that they can either use that for good or for ill, right? And
Mhm.
if they're driven to control and do it through manipulation, because that psychological, psychic kind of aspect is always part of Scorpio, that's where those words come in. So like like Laura was saying with Virgo, the self-awareness, if they can work with self-awareness, it teaches them boundaries. That's the lesson for the Virgo. So Scorpio, it's controlling that psychological kind of connection that you have with others, and the drive sometimes that's so subconscious that you don't know. But if there's self-awareness working with the Scorpio, then that controlling and manipulative aspect can be made into something that can serve you and others, right? And I think so self-awareness is something that each of these signs can use in order to turn shadow to light, or to a power instead of to a detriment.
There are people that come into the world with, it's one of the most difficult signs to me, I think, to come to have for ascendant, because um, in a way, life puts you through situations when you have to show your inner power. So, in a way, life trains you to be strong. Um, and sometimes, because of the experiences that you go through in life, you feel that you always have to be in control. And in a way, to avoid the fear that you might feel, you come like extremely powerful. That's what you want to show to the world, that you are you are in control and that you are powerful. And um, I don't know. I know people with Scorpio on the in the first house, and just the way they look at me, I can read that depth in the way they look at me, in the way they connect with me. Um, it's very it feels very close. It feels very like they are digging into me, trying to analyze me, just the way they look at me. So for me, sometimes it's like, who? So I think if you are in a Scorpio, if you have a Scorpio in the first house, uh, analyzing how others are reacting when you approach to them, and maybe softening a little bit. You know, when you've been trained to be strong, but maybe you don't have to be that strong and controlling person all the time, not with all your relationships. So maybe you can scale down a little bit, and you will find that you will be interacting in a more comfortable way with others. I don't know, what do you think, Christine?
Yeah, I don't think I know any Scorpio's ascendants, so I haven't studied it that way. I know that you're really good at doing that, kind of putting the pieces together of, people when you meet them. And so I haven't done that, but it makes sense to me. I do want to, so when we talk ascendant and descendant, we did cover that in the chart, but I just want to, the cusp of the first house is also the ascendant. So if we'll use that interchangeably, maybe we'll do a video where we talk about ascendant and descendant in the
Mhm.
midheaven, and the four quadrants and those points on the chart. But the cusp of the first house is ascendant. So we'll use that interchangeably, just in case you're confused when we use that term. All right, Sagittarius.
Yeah.
So Sagittarius presents itself or themselves as fun, adventurous, honest, generous, independent. Another word that always came up, which I was to me was kind of confusing because I don't necessarily have the experience of Sagittarius as exaggerative, but they can exaggerate. I guess I know one or two that do that, but it's not it's not done in a way that's like trying to control or manipulate or anything. It's just, who they are.
Yeah, I think people with Sagittarius ruling the first house, the ascendant, are people that came to this world to explore the world, to uh, have fun with the world, to, I don't know, to be open to what life is bringing to them. I'm not going to say that it's easy, because life, I don't think, is easy for anybody, but they come with that intention to find all the good things of life, and being able to understand what's happening and put it in easy words to express to others, to share with others, finding the meanings of things, and then being able to share those thoughts with others. So it's very open. It's people that love relationships and traveling. Maybe not too going too deep into relationships, but enjoying. And when you are with them, you feel that you're having a good time. It's relaxing, it's opening, and you might end up with a smile on your face.
Yeah, I keep getting so they it's a liking of variety too. So they won't be the type of person that will settle down and grow up and live in the same place. They need change, they need new experiences, they need variety of experiences. So I think that's part of that adventurousness. So yes, when you think of the word adventurous, it's someone that seeks out new places, but the drive of it is also there, that need to kind of mix things up and do new things and see new people and explore different cultures and different ways of living. And so I think that's really important for Sagittarius
Yeah, I
too.
think it's not about going too deep, but it's about going wide, right?
Yes,
Scorpio
yes,
is going deep.
variety,
Yeah, and for
lots of new.
Sagittarius is,
Yes.
yeah, maybe moving fast over everything, not having to attach to anything, but exploring a lot, right?
Mhm.
And one thing that I noticed with people on the with Sagittarius in the first house is that they're always committing to things. Like they always says, oh, yeah, I want to do it. and then they're complaining because they don't have the time because they commit to so much. So I think for a good lesson, if you have a Sagittarius in the first house, is learning to say no. Like uh, it's okay to say no and not having to commit to everything, and really considering before you commit to something if you will have time, because that's something that repeats in a lot of people that I know. They're always ready, right? It's a fire sign. It's like, let's go here. Sure, I can drive you there. But then it's like, well, but I really don't have the time. And then they start like getting mad at themselves because they already committed. So it's maybe thinking before jumping into a commitment
Mhm.
could be a good advice.
Mhm. Okay, Capricorn in the first house. They're traditional, they're serious, organized, focused, and prepared.
I don't know if I want to add. I'm a Capricorn ascendant, so
It's interesting because so like with everything we're finding as we start in one place, right? And as we worked through the signs, things became clear about how we wanted to present them. And so I'm just thinking now with self and body in the future, when we had themes, we specifically addressed those themes in the words that we chose for each sign. And so we haven't really talked about the body a lot for these, but if you just kind of play a little bit, so traditional, serious, organized, focused, and prepared, or with Cancer, sensitive, emotional, private, defensive, nurturing, if you apply that to the body, maybe it's about how they dress, or it's how, like thinking about how they walk. I can picture an Aries, walking chest forward right into the fray of it all, and the Scorpio kind of quietly walking along the wall just so that they can watch everything play out and figure out where they want to be and who they want to be next to, kind of thing. And the Capricorn, so I'm in my mind now, I'm thinking how these words, if you just kind of play with them a little bit, you can see how they relate to self, how you present yourself, how others see the self, but also maybe how you relate to the physical body.
an idea of the traditional Capricorn is going to the hair salon for 47 years and always asking for the same haircut. It's just like you don't want changes. Buying the same style for your clothing. It's just like you want to continue with everything the way it is. And sometimes you can admire others that change. And like I see my sister changing jewelry, but I always wear the same chain and the same earrings because my husband gave me this and the ring. And I love watching that are other things to wear, but when it comes to me, it's like, yeah, no, I will wear the same thing today and tomorrow and next year. And fashion is not something that really attracts me.
Mhm.
I go for comfort. So that's the traditional aspect of Capricorn. That's how I present myself in the world. And we talked about this for many, many months when I started with astrology and describing myself as Capricorn ascendant. And it's like, I don't see that person in me. And for you, where I see that very, very clearly. And then I asked my husband, do you think those definitions apply to me? And he was like, yeah, but I never recognized myself being this this person, right? So it was a lot of self-discovering there. And now I can tell you I am all of that.
Okay, so Aquarius in the first house will be original, flexible, independent, aloof, and maybe because they're aloof, they could be misunderstood by others because it's hard to get to know them, to get a sense of them.
Yeah, for me, Aquarius is very similar to Aries. They want what they want. They want what they want when they want it. It's also another zodiac sign that I see them like the me first, and understanding that they are within groups, and I think they find the perfect balance being themselves but also being within groups. But it's very important what they want.
I think
And
the energy is very different though. So for me, Aquarius, it's almost they are who they are, the independence, the unique, the individual in a group, because they can't be other. It's just who they are. Whereas Aries asserts themselves as that,
Mhm.
right? They have to actively be that and have others see them as that. Whereas Aquarius, it's they can't be any different. That's just who they are.
Yeah, I was saying that that's how I perceive them. They're both, when you interact with an Aries and when you interact with an Aquarius, you'll see that they'll do what they want to do. They'll have different reasons, but for me is that's what I notice. Um, Honoring their truth is very important for them. What do you think?
It feels different to me.
Okay.
It feels different to me. I see what you're saying. Maybe it's more, maybe I'm putting myself more in the actual, not me perceiving them as being them in that energy in that house. I
Mhm.
think that maybe
Oh,
the
in all of this, for me, what I'm expressing is how I perceive them. How is my
yeah.
interaction with them? Because um, it's the mask that they're wearing and how it's affecting me.
Mhm.
That's what
And I'm putting myself in each of these
yeah,
energies and feeling what it's like to be that energy in the first house.
yeah.
It's so interesting. All right, so I think we're good. Is there anything else you want to say about Aquarius?
No, no.
Okay. So Pisces is me. This is me in the first house. And it's true. I would have never picked this one as describing me, but inspiring, dreamy, loving, always there for others, and spiritual is how the Pisces energy, if it's ruling the first
And
house.
that's exactly how I read you.
That's yeah.
When I'm interacting with you, you are very inspiring. And I don't know about the dreamy part, but very
Yeah.
clean, very soft.
Yeah, that I
Your
am.
your voice come very it's very smooth and gentle and makes you kind of slow down and relax. And um, I feel very comfortable. And I know other Pisces ascendant that make me feel the same way.
Yeah. So it'd be interesting, I guess, if all of whoever, if you're watching this video, to see if you have other people's charts, like your partner or your children or your parents or your siblings or friends, and seeing if you can get their charts as well from the asto.com, and then playing and experimenting like Laura does apparently with, with everyone in their life, and seeing how they relate, how you
Yeah.
feel they are.
If you are in my close,
Constantly analyzing
environment,
us.
for
Oh my God,
sure.
it's like she
For
knows so
sure, I
much
have your
about me.
information and your
There's
date
no
of
words.
birth.
So that is the first house theme of self and body for each of the signs. We have all the other houses ready to go. We will be posting, like we did with the others, alternating between each of our YouTube channels. So you can look there to follow them, and we'll be putting out these videos over the next few weeks. If you have questions, you can always put them in the comments below. I don't know how we're going to be sharing the PDF, but we will at some point put the PDF either as a complete all 12 houses or for each individual house. We haven't figured that out yet, but that will be on our Facebook group, Soul Astrology with Christine and Laura. So if you haven't joined that yet, you're more than welcome. We would love to see you there. It's a really great community of people who are all about exploring and getting to know themselves through astrology. And was there anything else?
No, I think we're good with the first house.
Yeah. So thank you if you've watched all the way through the video. We so appreciate you being here. And we'll see you in the next video when we talk all about the second house.
Thank you for joining.
All right. Bye, everyone.
Bye.